Yo, 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 what is going on? IK fam, BN, we are back again today for another dope Sauce Infinity Kingdom video. Always excited, and today is no exception at all. Finally, we have the latest 1.5 patch notes, and we're going to be giving you guys this update preview as we usually do, going over everything there is in the notes, top down. We're going to go over the typical outline from the overview, and I'm also going to give you my opinions and feedback on each of the notes for ones that I guess can use some feedback and thoughts. So let's go ahead and start. Again, top down, here we go. New features, Melina's Ambition. This is something we got teased to us on the official Facebook for IK a couple days ago. Again, this is a 4-stage event, right, where you're basically going to be selecting a city, right, that you can see here in the screenshot. It'll say choose a defense point, and then it's going to say select a defensive, you're going to select defensive strength. Now, the interesting thing here is that you can actually opt to have no strength at all, right? It says the Alliance Leader officers can select 6 types of defensive booster strengths. 3 here represent the maximum strength, and 1 the lowest defensive strength. The lower the defensive strength rating, the greater the bonus points given to the prevailing alliance. Right, and you can see that here where it has, you have 2 of these, right, that have the 3 level strength, 3 that are mid, and then 1 that I guess is the lowest. So essentially, if you set all of these to the lowest, that just means that you will be able to get the max amount of points for your alliance. I'm sure we're going to end up having a good amount of people doing that, right? But again, our 4 stages, right? Select a city, select defensive strength, complete fortification, then the gnome invasion begins. So you have to select all of these things before anything really starts. And then completing the fortification, your alliance must have completed 6 cooperative missions and 1 alliance donation mission before the alliance leader or officer can give their consent for a gnome invasion to take place. Right, invasions can take place from reset to 23:35, which is 25 minutes before reset daily. Okay, now, the actual gnome invasion, it's going to last 17 minutes, 2 of which are going to be prep minutes, meaning that it's going to be a 15-minute actual invasion, which will involve the activation of a protection barrier over your city, and the dispensation, I'm going to go with that, of 6 buff types and bloody rage effects by lords within the area of the invasion, which is 6 kilometers square centered around the city. Now, the Alliance, you're going to encounter 3 gnome types: common, elite, leader gnomes. The common and leaders will attack the city directly. On the other hand, elites will actually attack players within range. And they'll launch attacks on those players. Alliances will have more to contend with than hostile gnomes. Hostile alliances may well take advantage of gnome invasions to do a bit of conquering. So again, the interesting part here is that it's almost as though if you're defending a city, or you're choosing to do this, right, the opportunity, well, I don't know, I probably shouldn't word it as opportunity, but the chance of you getting kind of raided or counter-raided could happen. Now, obviously, if you're in a server that is a little more unified and you guys kind of don't necessarily do that to each other, then of course more the merrier, because you'll be able to take advantage of hopefully having an easier time getting those max rewards. Now let's talk about victory conditions. A defender with at least 1 stronghold remaining under their control. This is where it gets interesting. Once the invasion has ended, wins. An invading party, gnomes or hostile alliances, seizes complete control of all strongholds during the invasion, then they will be declared the winner, and the invasion will end. The victor will go on to exercise full control over the city. So, if the gnomes win, and you lose your defense, then I imagine the city would go back to being neutral. Whereas, same thing, if another alliance tries to capture it, then again, they would take it over. Now, rewards. Fortification rewards. Alliances that complete 6 cooperative missions in total will receive a matching treasure chest and speed up reward. They'll be sent via mail. City defense rewards. The city defense rewards will be sent to every participant involved in defending the city. So I like that. It's based off engagement. Leader rewards, and also, of course, time availability as well. Leaderboard rewards. The leaderboard will rank alliances based on the respective alliance points. That's nice. So I like how they're doing things a little bit more server-wide to create some more incentive. Alliance points are calculated based on city size, level, and structural integrity. is calculated from the city's remaining health and the number of strongholds left following the engagement. Now, the interesting part here is that it says calculated based on size, level, and structural integrity, right? So again, and you'll see a little bit lower, I think they mentioned something about like a province, like a capital city versus a non-capital city, right? Could potentially give you more points. We'll have to see about that. Now the event period, right? It lasts 3 days, with every alliance receiving 1 challenge opportunity per day, and the event it resets at reset. Without sounding too redundant there. So again, I like the event. I think this is really cool, right? This is another server-wide event that is coming at you from a different perspective, where you're now kind of defending against this potential invasion. This kind of hints at what we heard earlier months ago that we were peeping about the potential server-wide event of like gnomes invading Norheim, right? That we kind of teased a little bit at because we heard whispers of it. So who knows if that's this event or if it's maybe going to be another one. But again, can never be mad at more additional events that are going to create more engagement for your alliance within your server. Now let's talk about the new Tower Knowledge skill. So Sacrifice is going to be a new elite style skill. It says increases damage of 2 random allied units by X percentage, which is between 4.5 and 50%, but reduces your damage by that amount as well. Also has a 50% chance of increasing your initial energy by 100. So pretty much it's like a neutral thing for here, right? So basically, because these cancel each other out, give or take, you're really just looking at this, right? The skill basically is just 15% chance to increase your initial energy by 100. I think that's okay. Dual Master Elite category is passive. This one's an aura, right? So you can only have 1 attached per. After entering battle, increases your physical attack and grants you immunity to wound. So I actually think this is pretty decent, right? It goes up to 50%. Again, it is single focused for 1 immortal. Absolute defense every 6 seconds after battle starts has a 15 to 50% chance. Says blocking all damage from 3 attacks for up to 6 seconds. So this is interesting. This could potentially be pretty big, but again, it's a 50% chance of proccing, right? And it is only for that individual. So this is something, right, you could probably place on someone who's a little squishier. Maybe you want to give them an opportunity to get a couple more of their skill procs off, right, and you can run this for that type of a player as one example. Oaken Guard, Epic. So we got some new Epic tier skills coming out. Category is Blessing. After the battle starts, reduces physical damage received by 3 random allied units by 15 to 50% for 18 seconds. Now that's a long time. For when the battle starts. So again, I think this is actually pretty decent based on the ratio reduction. Because keep in mind, right, it's a 100% chance of applying, right? And again, it's only going to last for the first 18 seconds, right? But it also allows for you to reduce the damage for 3 of your immortals, which I think is actually pretty good. Energy Burst, Epic triggered. Effect, gain X additional energy when you deal a critical hit. So this is probably going to be something you're going to run on a fire comp, which is probably just going to help you get consistent or faster crits based on some of the fire immortal skill procs. So I think this is probably a staple, arguably, for including this in fire. Now, keep in mind, right, this is only going to apply to 1 immortal, so you're most likely going to, you may consider just putting this on an immortal that is going to already have a higher crit chance than maybe some of the others. Annihilation, Epic, triggered. This is every 6 seconds after battle starts, 45% chance of dealing magical damage to all enemy units, 90 to 300%. So this actually isn't that bad. Again, right, you might consider putting this on, your highest magic damage dealer. So the factor is a little more. Again, 45% chance of dealing. It goes every 6 seconds, so it's okay. Again, probably something that you could, I think as more epic skills come out, you're probably going to consider using them on maybe 2nd and 3rd marches as well, where they'll still be very viable, maybe if it's not the most viable on your primary march, right, at least until they introduce more skills. So again, I still think the skill is good at face value. I'm not sure if this is something that you would immediately put into like a primary march for one of your 4 immortals, but it could be. Again, I think you would just have to weigh out what you would want to replace. But I like that they're adding in some more epic talk skills, so that's nice. Contentional relics optimizations. This is pretty big because this is something specifically that they're really changing the way that it works, and I want to say I'm hoping it's going to be for the better. So let's read through. They're doing an overhaul, and they're pretty much going to be divvying it up into phases, right? So you're going to have phase 1, which is going to be day 1 from 0 to 2359 going into day 2. This is going to be Chaos Beast spawn and then content energy nodes. The 5 relics and contracts is going to be day 2. And then day 3 is World Heart. It says even here it's going to have 3 successive phases. Chaos Beast will be single player later with the new match pacing. And then, so I'm imagining that these things will just open up on these days. All right, so it even says here, started, second stage starts. So these things are probably going to open up in order. I actually think this is a pretty good idea, at least to try. It kind of follows along with what King of the Hill is and some of the other stage-based events. So for Chaos Beast, they're actually changing this up as well. So it's an improved attack mode. So they're changing it from rally to single player mode, right? So you don't necessarily have to always rally the beast. I actually think that this is probably going to be a plus, especially if they're going to be a little bit easier to attack overall. It says new buff drops, right? There's a chance that Chaos Beasts will now drop buffs, which I actually think because of this, it's going to be it's going to be a win overall when it comes down to you being able to do more damage to them and hopefully have an easier time as an individual. Some of those buffs are going to be reduce the number of troops seriously wounded by the Chaos Beast. This is nice. It's going to reduce hospital heals by 3% for 5 minutes. It can stack up to 10 times, which means it can get up to 30%. That's pretty good. Increase damage dealt by Chaos Beast by 1% for 5 minutes. Can stack up to 10 times, so you get 10%. And then March speed 3% for 5 minutes. That goes up to 30%. So I think this is a nice different improvement. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I think a lot of people have enjoyed, or at least I've heard from players in servers I've played with, that they would have liked to be able to attack them solo and not always have to be reliant on a rally. But again, we'll have to see how it plays out. Now the 5 relics in World Heart, right? Occupation rewards for these are going to be based on you gaining, right? So it says here, which will be gained in line with occupation time. These Valor Marks rewards are shared by the entire alliance and assigned by the alliance leader. So pretty different here, the way they're doing this now. So the alliance leader is going to be assigning Valor Marks during the closing stages of the events. So again, right, the immediate worry here that I would have, right, prior to reading on is that, right, they need to have some way to gauge player contribution and engagement for the event in order for the leader to then make a good decision on who they're going to assign Valor Mark rewards to, right? In addition to this, this is now going to cause, I don't want to say cause, but the effect of this is now going to be that leaders are now going to have, leaders and or officers are going to have to do more work for their alliance. One, to make sure, hopefully, I mean, as you should already have been, but giving good information on how to take advantage of these events, and then 2, also letting people know that, look, you're going to have to divvy up rewards, right, because you want to set good, realistic expectations so people are aware. And then also, right, letting them know how you're going to go about doing that. Now, I'm sure the first variant of this is probably still going to be worked on, so it's going to be a work in progress no matter what. But I do like the fact that you can now have a little bit more manual control over kind of who you're assigning rewards to, and also that they're going to be adding hopefully something later, which we'll talk about here hopefully in the next topic, which is so new king appointment conditions, right? And then we're going to talk about the allocating Valor Marks, which I think something they're adding in here is nice. So the new king appointment conditions, this is interesting. So only alliances who have occupied the World Heart during Contested Relics may crown a king. So I don't know if that means that you actually just have to have World Heart, or if it means you have to control World Heart and win COR to get crowned king. So I'm sure we'll find that out. But I like that this is now at least a prerequisite. I'm actually a fan of this change. Allocating Valor Reward Marks, right? It says, Valor Mark rewards obtained by acquiring energy cubes will no longer be distributed indiscriminately Allocation time. During the closing stages of the event, the alliance leader can distribute those reward distribution. Once the alliance leader has allocated all of the Valor Mark rewards, the system will send each allocated player a message with the corresponding rewards. There's going to be an alliance certification message informing members. And then there's now leaderboards here to help with this, right? This is what we mentioned just a few minutes ago. Between alliances, the new Valor Marks reward system, or leaderboard, ranks alliances based on the total number of Valor Marks they have gained from occupying cities or World Heart during the event. Within alliances, the new Alliance Contribution Rating Leaderboard ranks alliance members based on their contribution rating during this contention of relics, which is total honor gain, total wall durability destroyed, and total damage dealt to Chaos Beast. Now, I'd like to see if they have something like total gathered amount or total gathered time. I think that's something that is equally beneficial, along with maybe if they eventually added leaderboards for different contracts that were done. Again, if that's even going to factor in as well towards overall Valor Marks that your alliance is going to be gaining from its members. So I think that there could be an opportunity for some additional leaderboards, but we'll have to see how it plays out first. Now, Battle of Asteria, it looks like there's a couple just clarifications and maybe some small changes here. Personal challenge upgrade mechanic. The first time a player clears a certain difficulty and unlocks the next one during the event, they will be able to play on the new difficulty. If clearing a stage does not unlock new difficulty, the system will not automatically increase the difficulty. So more of just kind of a nice to know. Personal challenge downgrade mechanic. After selecting the downgrade difficulty, players will continue all subsequent levels on low difficulty without having to restart from level 1. I like this, because if you want to downgrade, if you're just finding the higher one too difficult because you upgraded early, then at least you can go back and you don't have to restart from level 1. Distributing personal progress rewards. Rewards will be issued based on the player's progress in the last challenge difficulty if the player clears one or more difficulties for the first time. Okay, so that's nice. Talent pages. OM Jesus, this is what I'm talking about. Just Mary Poppins, right? Hansel and Gretel, here we go, right? Talent page presets. This is something we have been asking for as a community. We've even done this in our round 2 and round 3 feedback suggestions to the team. This is a fantastic ad, right? You now can have 3 talent pages. Again, it's still going to cost 200 gems, but you can at least preset them so when situations come up, you can switch. Again, big win here. Really love this. Artifact attribute pool. Tap the icon on the left of the attribute to view all the attributes an artifact can randomly give in that slot. I like this. They're giving more information now, more context on how some of the artifacts work and the attributes specifically, right? You can never be mad at that. Troops. When troops have been occupied, you can go to the shortcuts menu to view their info, speed up, or recall. Fantastic. They're adding more things to the interface, to the quick view or the shortcut interface in the game. This is one of the biggest and best things that we have, been asking for. I'd love for them to add a little bit more for other things we've talked about before, but they're utilizing this and they're building on it, right? I think the shortcut interface is a fantastic feature that they can continue to build on for ease of use and just more, I would say, faster accessibility for a player. So big win there. I like that. Rallying. If you are the only one in a rally, you will not be able to benefit from the fight-by-side alliance technology. Instead, the effect of the fight-by-side will change to attack increases. So I think that's pretty standard, especially if it's meant to be used by rallying, where they're still giving you something for it, even if you're just going to do a solo rally at the end of the day. Number 7, at mentioning feature in chats. Oh, Betsy, stop making me excited on a daily basis. Yes, this is something we have been asking for, something I've even specifically mentioned, I want to say since the second feedback round that we've done, about just the possibility of working this in, because keep in mind, the mechanic for the most part is pretty much already there, right? You can already see a different color in-game when you have a personal direct message that is sent to you, right? It shows up green compared to the red. So really it's just building off of that, I think, is great. Now you have the chance for maybe to see green messages, depending on how they have the little notification blurb, right, in World Chat or Kingdom Chat, where you're mentioned, right? And they simply say the ad feature, right, you're sending an ad. In the chat channel, hold down the avatar of the person you wish to add. So I'm imagining that means press and hold the name of someone. You wait for their name to appear in the text entry, and then you compose your message. You hit send, it'll give them the notification. Big win here. Amazing. Let's keep building off the chat system, right? Let's get that friends list. Let's allow for you to make group chats server-wide or game-wide, even if it's in other servers, even outside of just doing Alliance group chats, right? I love this feature. Fantastic. Illusion Battlefield. If your alliance does not meet the eligibility criteria, the system will now explain why. Fantastic. I love that. Again, giving more context, right? This is something we've even asked for them to dive more into when it comes to troops, right? Or, excuse me, immortals, right? So, like, when you look at the immortal stat page and you're seeing all those different numbers, right? A lot of players would like to know, where do those numbers come from, right? What exactly is the attack going in, right? What's the attack speed? What is resistance, right? What is the stat or the percentage that factors into that, right? Just providing more information and context is great. Big win here. Minimap. Icons have been improved so it's easier to tell the difference between types of buildings. Love it. Lord's card. Total troop number has been replaced with highest power to better reflect a player's strength. Oh, this is nice. So they're updating the Lord card. Fantastic. I would really love for them to do something when a player joins an alliance, for them to have another special field that says the date they joined the alliance. That would be fantastic. Balance adjustments. So some immortals are getting some buffs and debuffs here. Ramses is probably the most notable. Damage caused by the disarm effect has been adjusted according to the following ratios. So he's getting a little bit of a buff. It's going from 20% to 25%. So I think this might be a chance of them trying to make Ramses a little bit more viable now, where Herald isn't kind of just going to be the always go-to in the majority of situations. So I like that. They're trying to bring Ramses in, but again, they're doing it in a small way, right? I always love kind of smaller adjustments when it comes to buffs or debuffs, because I think that is a better way instead of making a drastic, extreme change and measure for what they do right in response to any kind of community feedback. Dito, when targeted by a normal attack, the chance of the attacker being shielded is now 25. Wow, so they've upped this to 35%. So Dito's getting a buff here. This is intense because I already thought 25% was good enough, but now it's going up to 25%. Okay, wow. I think Dito is now becoming a little more viable here in this comp now. But again, right, it's going from a quarter to pretty much a little over a 3% chance of proccing. But still a buff. Cyrus the Great. Number of skill targets is going from 2 to 3. Chance of skill targets being stunned upon crit is getting a buff now from 25 to 35%. So again, them recognizing, right, based on probably feedback from Cyrus that he probably wasn't most used. I'm sure that they can probably see that in the behind stats as well. Internally, he's getting a little bit of a buff now, right? Do you think this is going to make Cyrus a little more viable? Do you think this is going to make Ramses a little more viable? Do you think you'll choose Dito more often now over Yoshi? Let me know in those comments down below. Tower of Knowledge skills. Adrenaline Rush is getting changed now. A little bit of a debuff. Extra energy gained changed to 200 to 150. Shelter, HP recovery rate changed from 25 to 40. So, again, Shelter getting a little bit of a buff. Again, guys, that's pretty much it right now for it. Let me know anything and everything you think about these patch notes in those comments down below. My big standouts here have to arguably be, one, I like the fact that they're doing a big COR overhaul. For sure. I like the new talk skills that have been added. I like how they've now required you to cap World Heart before you can even become king of the server. And I love the new chat system. And again, the talent pages here, a big ad people have been asking for. The chat feature probably is my standout, though, personally, right? Just for my own favorite. I love that they're adding this in. I'm hoping that they're going to continue to build on this. Again, let me know what you think. I'd love to know your thoughts on anything we've talked about, and more importantly, if any of the Immortal balance adjustments are going to change your mind on who you may consider running now, or possibly including in your comp or maybe a future one. That's it for me. As always, I hope you guys enjoy these patch notes review, my overall thoughts on them and feedback on how they're going. I'm still loving the direction, and that's it for me. We'll see you guys later.